Hey guys, what's going on? I just saw this interesting video of a woman who explains exactly why she's going to be single for the rest of her life. She says basically because I don't want to do anything for you. She says she's tired of doing things for men. She doesn't want to do all the work. And I thought this was really fascinating because it talks about relationships and something that's really important in the wealth building process as well as the life building process. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboystv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I wanted to come in today and actually have a conversation that isn't necessarily a typical wealth conversation, but it actually does link to wealth because I've told you guys 1,000 times. Most financial theory says that relationships have everything to do with wealth. The lowest net worth in America actually is that of the single Black mother with children. The second lowest is the single Black father with children that's got a bunch of, kids and babies, mamas, and all that. All that stuff will leave you broke. So I saw this video today that was really interesting. And it was a woman who said that, this isn't the reason number 5,000 of why she's going to be single. And she basically says, I don't want to do anything for you. And I thought it was really interesting. And I'm going to play this video for you. And I'd like to get you guys' comments on this because I had a couple of thoughts and I'll share my thoughts, but I'd also like to hear yours too. So here you go.
This is probably reason number 500,000 of why I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. And I'm fine with that. I don't want to do anything for you. I don't want to cook for you. I don't want to clean for you. I don't want to be your secretary and set your appointments and chase you around and make you go because of your health. I don't want to pick up your socks for you. I don't want to be one of those people who comes on TikToks and makes funny videos about how you can't do anything for yourself and men do the darndest things and everybody's in the comments like, yeah, my husband does that too. My boyfriend does that too. Fuck that. I want to be with somebody who is an adult, a fully functioning adult. It's been proven time and time again that men are the ones who benefit from marriage and relationships because we get in them and we do everything and they just get to sit back and receive everything from us. And then as a treat, they might do something for our birthday or for Mother's Day. Men get to exist in relationships and just receive. Why can't we exist together? And if we do nice things for each other, it's just organic. It just happens. But it's not the expectation. It's not something I have to do because I'm the woman. When I come home after a long day, I don't want to cook either. I don't want to do shit either. Why can't we flip a coin to see who cooks or if we order food? And then whoever cooks, the other person cleans. Why can't you pick up after yourself? Why can't you set your own appointments? Why do I have to be your secretary? I'm not working for you. I'm not working for you. I have gotten so lazy. I'm not doing anything. And then there are men who will say, well, then what are you good for? What's the reason why someone should be with you? You're proving my point. You just want to be with somebody to do everything for you. I want to be with a fully functioning adult male who we can come together and exist together, do fun stuff together. We take turns. We pull our own weight. And that seems to be unreasonable. That's asking someone to be an adult is unreasonable. I don't even want a cat. I don't even want a pet. I have a plant. I'll be a plant lady. I will be happy. I will not take care of a grown person. I won't.
All right. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack there. I want to ask y'all a question. Give me a yes or no in the chat. Everybody answer this. I want everybody to give me an answer in the chat to this question. Would you marry a woman like that, like this, or a man? If somebody went on TikTok and said, "I'm lazy, I don't want to do anything for anybody, I don't want to do anything for you," does that person seem appealing to you? Does that seem like somebody that you'd like to actually be married to? What do you think? What do you think? Okay, I see some no's. A lot of no's. I'm looking for a yes. Is that somebody you want to be committed to in a relationship with, as somebody who's a life partner or whatever the case may be? Okay. All right. All right. So I see a lot of no's. Now, first thing I want to say is that I'm not trying to sit here and go Kevin Samuels with this because RIP to Kevin, and he was a logical man. And when Kevin was alive, Kevin did a video about me. He was very respectful, and so I'm never gonna disrespect him in that way. But I want to make it clear that my goal is not to go Kevin Samuels with it. And I encourage brothers, especially, to be really cautious about looking at one woman and say, see, that's what all those black women do. See, that's what they do. That's why I'm sick of these black women. Like, you can't do that, man. You can't do that, because that's just like somebody looking at a black man who's a criminal and putting a raggedy criminal on the screen and saying, see, that's what them black men do. All them black men, they be robbing and stealing and stuff, and they be killing people, and they be raping women and beating them. And black men don't all do that, right? So again, with full respect to what Kevin Samuels represented, I think Kevin was very good at what he did. I think he tapped into a frustration a lot of men have from their own relationships, and it leads, sometimes it can lead you down a rabbit hole where you get a little bit radicalized. And one thing I'm gonna make 100% clear is I don't think it's healthy for black men to be radicalized to a point where we believe that unconditionally black women are flawed, that unconditionally black women are messed up, that unconditionally, no matter what, black women are just, they're all like this lady, and that's why I don't mess with them, because they're stop that. You got flaws too. Everybody does. Everybody has shortcomings. Everybody has issues. Everybody has shit they got to work through. Everybody went through trauma as a kid. Everybody has shit that happened with their parents. Everybody has bad relationships. Everybody has baby mama, baby daddy drama and stuff like that. That stuff happens to everybody. So one of the things I would say, the first thing I would say about this video is, I like the fact that she was honest, right? I think that honesty is good. I think that if somebody just says, look, I don't want to do it. I've looked at relationships. I've looked at marriages. It's too much work. It's a pain in the butt. I'm gonna ask y'all this. Give me a yes or no. How many of you think that she just went through something that led her to make this video? How many of y'all think that she lined up with some raggedy ass man who made her do everything, who drug her through the mud, maybe took all her money and all her goodies and left her holding the bag or holding the cat or holding her plant or whatever it is that she does, whatever she has for comfort, right? How many of y'all think that she has gone through some shit and that's why she's making this video? Right? Give me a yes or no. And I want people to really see this. Again, this is a platform for intelligent black people. Okay? So I'm going to challenge you to really think. I took a whole page of notes on what this lady said because I just thought it was really fascinating. If you listen carefully, my wife happens to be an expert in the subconscious mind and how we think, and she's a couples counselor. If you listen carefully, she used a lot of buzzwords in her statement that reveal who she is and what she's gone through and how she views the world. You can't tell me. I would bet every nickel in my bank account, and I got a few nickels in my bank account because I've been an investor for a long time. I would bet every nickel in my bank account that this lady done been through some major shit in the last 2 or 3 years. I could bet you at every nickel in my bank account that she has a funny relationship with her father. Something's going on. Something maybe happened with her dad. I'd be interested in hearing about that relationship. I bet you every nickel in my bank account that she has probably not chosen among the best of us as well. I'd be willing to bet you that she got stuck in a situation where she got used and manipulated and hurt, and this has caused her to become radicalized against black men. So the same way I really warned the brothers about being radicalized to the point where you have an unconditional disdain for black women. Well, there are women who have an unconditional disdain for black men. And for a lot of them, it's real easy to find the source of that. All you got to do for some of them is go back and look. Well, what happened with your dad? Well, my dad was a bum. Well, there you go. There you go. The first man you ever loved abandoned you. Of course you think men ain't shit. Of course your trust barrier is 100 feet high. Of course you're scared every time you run into a man who treats you like you are not a piece of dirt. Of course you don't like the nice guy because your daddy wasn't the nice guy, right? So of course, right? These things sometimes are not hard to unpack. You got a lot of damaged people in the Black community. A lot of deranged people. And so anyway, I'm going to move on through this. And if you want to know why I like to talk about this stuff every now and then, I'm going to bring my wife in. We're going to do a pillow talk because I want to hear a woman's perspective on this too. I'd love to get her perspective as a couples counselor. But I said, babe, I want to go in here and give an Uncle Boyce point of view on this. And I hope it's okay. I hope I can share this and still be loved because I kind of feel like there's a lot going on here. And also remember, we talk a lot about wealth on this channel. And one of the things that if you understand wealth, you will understand this. This is coming right out of financial theory. Wealth is easier to build when you're doing it as a team. Wealth is easier built when you have strong families. The Jewish community builds lots of wealth because they work on their relationships. The Arabs built wealth because they get married and they stay married. The Asians built wealth because they value family. So if you run around here talking about, I don't love these hoes, I hate these women, and these men ain't nothing, I could do it all by myself. Well, guess what? You probably broke right now, and you're gonna stay broke. You might have a little income, you might have a nice car, but you ain't got no real wealth. If I calculated your net worth, it would be negative, probably because of your student loans alone, or your baby mama debt alone, right there will put you into a negative net worth category. So a lot of people who don't understand wealth, they think that things like family and relationships and who you choose to spend your time with, who you choose as your friends, who you choose to marry or not marry, they think that has nothing to do with building wealth. That has everything to do with building wealth. There are some families that have wealth that literally say there is no way I could have ever built wealth without my family. So I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm not here to tell you to get married or not get married because it does take work. It's hard. But I will say to you that that things that are hard, if you do the right things that are hard, they will have a benefit at the end. Like getting my PhD was hard, but it made me millions of dollars. Being married to my wife is hard, but I can get shit done that a lot of people can't get done on their own. Raising kids is hard, but damn, I love those kids. I love those little sons of bitches to death. I just love my kids into the ground. So ultimately, what I would say to you is, what she's really saying here that's really interesting is she's talking about the fact that relationships can be hard, right? And I don't think anybody can disagree with that. So one of the first things I would say with her video that I really like is I like her honesty, right? And I think if somebody ever gives you a speech like that, that's great because they're telling you exactly who they are, what they are and are not willing to do. They're not sugarcoating anything. They're not lying to you. There's a whole theory in finance about this actually called moral hazard. Moral hazard is where people do the opposite. Moral hazard is where somebody tells you that they're going to do all these wonderful things for you to get you to marry them or to get you to have sex with them. Like, oh yeah, baby, if you do this for me, then I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do that. Or yes, sir. Yes, daddy. I'll be your slave. I'll do whatever you want. Right? And then when they get you, they kind of just treat you any old kind of way. So moral hazard is when somebody is not honest with you, and then you get locked into a situation, and then you're not happy. So she's doing a good job. She's being honest. I would marry her because I'm kind of like, well, you ain't doing shit. Okay, well then that's fine. And here's the thing, right? There are lots of relationships that work just fine like that. There are plenty of people who say, look, I don't want to do anything for anybody other than myself, and I want to just be the girlfriend. I actually talked to a wife one time who said, I like being the girlfriend because I feel like the girlfriend gets treated better than the wife. I didn't agree or disagree with her statement because I think it depends on how you look at it. On one hand, you're right. The girlfriend may get, you're going to work a little bit harder, get her some flowers, take her out to dinner, do all these special things for her. But no woman I have ever encountered in my whole entire life has ever gotten as much out of me as my wife. My wife, it's like comparing college basketball players to a Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is on a whole different level for a college basketball player. So the women I might have dated in my life, I treated them well. I took them, we traveled around the world. I would be very nice to them because that's what you're supposed to do. But when I chose to be her husband, I knew that was a whole different level of commitment. I couldn't just put my foot in or my hand in or my toe in the situation. I dipped my whole body in. Like my wife is the only woman I've ever been around in my whole entire life who could go into my bank account and take the money out. I don't let everybody do that, right? So this idea, this theory that that maybe being the girlfriend or being the boyfriend means you get treated better than if you're the spouse. I think that's debatable. I'm not saying everybody should want to be a spouse, but there are benefits that a spouse can receive that a girlfriend or boyfriend can't receive. In some cases, you might get the sex and you might get a little bit of companionship, but at the end of the day, the person goes home and your problems are your problems, their problems are their problems. And where that becomes kind of a weird issue is, what if you have a situation where you got to go to the doctor and get brain surgery, and you're going to be in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks, and you're going to be in a coma, or they're going to put you under so you can get major surgery, or you need somebody to help, and then you need somebody to help you deal with $200,000 in medical bills and sit around you while you got breast cancer or prostate cancer, or you're not the man that you used to be. Well, that's kind of what marriage really is built for the most part. Marriage is like it's like grown up shit. It's like you're really in it with another person on a level that you're not in it with them when you're just girlfriend and boyfriend. In fact, just the term girlfriend boyfriend, if you think about it carefully, that's like a children's term, right? You're 45 years old talking about I got a girlfriend. You're 45. You shouldn't date girls at 45. You shouldn't date boys at 45. You should be dating a man. You should be dating a woman, right? So it's just it doesn't mean that one's always better than the other. I totally get it. But I will say that if you want to go back to, again, and I don't have any problem bringing this part up. If you go back to, a lot of people had conversations about when we were talking about, say, Kevin Samuels. Well, Kevin Samuels is 57 years old with a girlfriend. And he died in the arms of a girlfriend he'd met 24 hours earlier. Do you think that woman gave a shit about this old man who's dying of a heart attack in her arms? Do you think that she felt like she was going to sit next to his hospital bed for 2 weeks while he recovered? Do you think that she really had his best interest at heart? Or do you think that she was there because he was famous or rich or had a little bit of money, or she wanted to have a good time? Right. So I'm not saying that that's a bad situation, but what I am saying is that, the older you get, when you get past, say, the age of 35, you have to start being really strategic about how you lay out your relationships. Maybe even 25 for some people. I'm not judging. It's up to you to make that decision. But your relationships have to fit into your overall life strategy. And I can personally say that when I got in my 40s, I remember thinking, I don't want to date like I'm 25 years old because I'm trying to do grown man shit. If I'm trying to do grown man shit, I can't show up as a little boy talking about I'm 52 years old, this is my girlfriend, because it just doesn't operate the same way when you're talking about doing multi-million-dollar business deals, right? It feels cool and it's a lot of fun. But then also the other thing too is that when you've had a lot of that, when you've had a lot of, little short relationships and flings and sex and all this other stuff, you kind of get to the point where you're like, this is tiring. This is exhausting. I don't know these people. This woman all up in my house. Crazy people coming around, and so maybe you aspire to something a little bit different. So I would encourage everybody to do just my 2 cents, because remember, relationships and wealth are deeply linked. This is why I love to talk about both of them. And my wife and I talk about this stuff a lot because she's a licensed therapist. She's been a relationship therapist for over 20 years, and she has a real license in it. She's not just giving her opinion. She's studied all the theories. And one of the things I would say to you is, always be thoughtful about your strategy and relationships and how it fits into every single thing, every other part of your life that you want to live. In fact, one thing that she mentioned here that was really interesting was she talked about, she said, your health. I don't want to run behind you and say, that your health because of your health. Well, I get that. I totally get that. And it's her right to say that. But one of the things about marriage that does benefit you is if you marry a person that is health conscious, that is better for your health. So you're less likely to die of a heart attack at 50 years old or whatever, because you've got somebody around who will sit there with you and say, maybe you need to eat the salad instead of eating the steak. Maybe you don't need another bowl of ice cream. Maybe you need to go with me to the gym and work out a little bit because we're both getting a little bit older and we both want to make sure we stay in shape. So ultimately, health, wealth, and relationships are all connected to each other. If you lose your health because you're chasing wealth, you will eventually lose all your wealth trying to get your health back. There are so many examples of people who spent all their life to up to 50, 60 years old, busting their ass, working 14-hour days every day and ruining their health. And then they acquire a little bit of wealth, a few assets. Then they get sick. Boom. Next thing you know, you got a $500,000 medical bill, but you only got 40,000 in the bank. All that's wiped out. Now you're in debt for life. Now you're going to die alone and in debt. Right. So ultimately, you want to think about all these things together. A smart wealth builder is a person who thinks about all these things in a strategic fashion. So you make sure it all fits into your space. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And I want to remind you guys, don't forget, we have the All Black National Convention in October. It's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. For the next 24 hours, actually, you can get 30% off the tickets. You just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's the URL on the screen. Or you can go to boycewatkins.com and use this code. I'm going to put it on the screen. It's discount 24. The next 100 people that buy a pass, you can actually get 30% off your pass if you want to go ahead and buy an early bird right now. I'm going to leave that on the screen so you can use it. It's all one word. So allblacknationalconvention.com. Feel free to join us. We actually have speed dating for those of you that want to actually meet somebody who's got some common sense, who's pro-black, who understands family, who respects black men or respects black women. It's a great place to network for business. It's a great place to learn. We have a great B1 gala. The convention is great. Just ask anybody who's been there. They will tell you that it's amazing. So just go to allblacknationalconvention.com, use the code word discount 24, and get 30% off. Now, what I want to do for those of you who just came in is I'm going to replay this lady's video so you can know what we've been talking about. So here we go.
This is probably reason number 500,000 of why I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. And I'm fine with that. I don't want to do anything for you. I don't want to cook for you. I don't want to clean for you. I don't want to be your secretary and set your appointments and chase you around and make you go because of your health. I don't want to pick up your socks for you. I don't want to be one of those people who comes on TikToks and makes funny videos about how you can't do anything for yourself and men do the darndest things and everybody's in the comments like, yeah, my husband does that too. My boyfriend does that too. Fuck that. I want to be with somebody who is an adult, a fully functioning adult. It's been proven time and time again that men are the ones who benefit from marriage and relationships because we get in them and we do everything and they just get to sit back and receive everything from us. And then as a treat, they might do something for our birthday or for Mother's Day. Men get to exist in relationships and just receive. Why can't we exist together? And if we do nice things for each other, it's just organic. It just happens. But it's not the expectation. It's not something I have to do because I'm the woman. When I come home after a long day, I don't want to cook either. I don't want to do shit either. Why can't we flip a coin to see who cooks or if we order food? And then whoever cooks, the other person cleans. Why can't you pick up after yourself? Why can't you set your own appointments? Why do I have to be your secretary? I'm not working for you. I'm not working for you. I have gotten so lazy. I'm not doing anything. And then there are men who will say, well, then what are you good for? What's the reason why someone should be with you? You're proving my point. You just want to be with somebody to do everything for you. I want to be with a fully functioning adult male who we can come together and exist together, do fun stuff together. We take turns. We pull our own weight. And that seems to be unreasonable. That's asking someone to be an adult is unreasonable.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is pull this down again and give me a yes or no. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay. All right. So let's dissect this a little bit because I think it's really interesting because I know that there are a lot of people who feel this way, and I've seen men and women say this kind of thing. And one of the things that's interesting, again, I think that her video is very honest, and I like honesty. I think honesty is a good thing. In a way, it makes me think about somebody who says, you know, I don't want to work for anybody because I don't want to be your employee. I don't want you telling me what to do. I don't want to get up in the morning. I don't want to work hard. I don't want to be stressed out. And I think that that's totally fine because, you know, I'm the same. I'm like that when it comes to working for other people. There's no job you can offer me right now that would pay me enough money to make me go work for a white man or anybody else. I'm not here to be your slave. I'm not your bitch. I don't want, you know, you're not going to tell me what to do. Right. And I think that's okay to say. Right. But here's the thing. I can't say that and then be surprised when no one will hire me. Right? I can't say that and then say, well, dang it, these companies, they don't want to hire nobody. They expect everybody to come in and work 40 hours a week, and they expect you to work for your paycheck. And what's wrong with these people asking me to do stuff for them? And da, da, da. I can't do that, right? I can't do both. I can't say I don't want to do any work and then simultaneously turn around and say, why won't you hire me? Why are you picking somebody else? Well, they're going to pick somebody else because there are people who are willing to do that work. There are people who are willing to, who want the job, right? And maybe it's a matter of me not having found a job that makes me willing to do the work. Pay attention now. This is for intelligent Black people. I really need you to follow my analogy here. Maybe I haven't run into a job that has made me say, I want to get up in the morning. The pay is really good. I want to be there every day. So here's the problem. In my view, here's my 2 cents. Remember, the dating market is just like a labor market. In economics, we study labor markets all the time. We study all markets, financial markets. The stock market is a market. The grocery store is a market. Dating is a market. So when somebody says, I don't want to do no work because relationships require all this work and no reward, what they're really saying to you is that I have not met anybody who I feel is worth doing the work for. That the people that I have run across, you remember, you're telling on yourself. What you're really doing is you're telling everybody who you're dating and what your dating life has been like. You're basically saying, I don't want to do the work because it's too damn hard, because all the men that I've met or all the women I've met have required me to do a ton of work with minimal benefits. And I get that. Believe it or not, what this lady said is entirely logical, rational, and is completely within her rights to say this kind of thing. I know a lot of people who say the same thing. I'll use myself as an example. I was a man who always said, I don't want to be a husband. Not right now, because it's too much work. All this stuff with monogamy and having to answer to somebody and somebody taking all your money and everything else. I don't want to do all of that. When I was 35, that's what I said. I said, I don't want to. I don't have to do that. I have options. Why would I want to sign up for any of that? I don't want to do any of that. That's what I would tell my friends. But here was what was going on. At that point in my life, I had not met a woman that was worth doing all that work. So the difference between my wife and my ex-girlfriend, who I dated for 3 or 4 years. I was on podcasts every day in front of millions of people, and I had a full-fledged, full-time girlfriend, and nobody knew about it because I didn't talk about it. Right? I thought she was awesome. She was amazing. She was cute. She fine as hell. Oh, we had a great experience. We probably took 100 trips together. We did a lot of fun stuff together, but I never ever talked about her online because because there was only so much I was willing to do. Only so far I was willing to go. I wasn't gonna involve and engage that person in every corner of my life and put that person in the center of everything that I do. And so when I did run into somebody where I said, okay, this person's worth the work. This situation is the one I want. This is where I'm willing to go 180 miles down the road for. That's when you saw me shifting my behavior. Some of y'all watched me transform right before your eyes. You saw me go from being Boyce, the boyfriend, to Boyce, the husband, because I said, okay, I'm ready now. So it's a function of 2 things, actually. Again, this is analyzing the dating market is just like analyzing the stock market. I kid you not. It's the same dynamics, supply, demand, everything. All these dynamics come into play. A couple things happen. 2 things. One, the person I was around shifted, and I said, okay, this is a person I'm willing to do the work for. 2, I changed. I evolved to the point where, because remember, the way I wanted to date as a 45-year-old was different from the way I wanted to date as a 35-year-old. When I was 35 years old, maybe I was like, maybe we'll get around to it. When I was 25, you could have put the greatest woman on earth in front of me. This is important for ladies, I think, to understand. I just think if a man ain't ready for marriage, he's just not going to do it. It's like a man trying to have sex with a woman on her period. She's not saying no to you because she doesn't want you. She's saying no because she just ain't ready. It ain't her day. She's not feeling like doing it. And so the same thing is true with marriage. When I was 25, you would have had to pull all the teeth out of my head to get me to want to get married, because I wasn't going to get married to you at no 25 years old because I felt like I was too young. It wasn't of interest to me. I was married to my goals. I was married to graduate school. I was married to all these other things. I didn't have time to sit around and be somebody's spouse and put in all the work necessary to do that. That is a lot of work. So really, I think that there's like this honesty in her statement. And also remember, her statement is her telling when somebody talks about relationships. If you want to understand somebody's experiences, wait, allow them to just talk about who they've dated in their relationships, and that will tell you everything you need to know about what they've gone through and what their point of view is. Now, one thing I want to mention too, somebody mentioned that Kevin Samuels, they said that Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, that he would help women like this. I think somebody said Kevin Samuels used to help women like this. I don't think that it was helping. I looked at, if you go to Kevin Samuels' channel right now and you look at the last 10 videos that he did before he passed, which is very unfortunate, you will notice that there is a theme. Every single thumbnail is an image of a black woman looking stupid. Every image, every single thumbnail. Now, again, if he was balanced, if he was helping men and helping women equally, then half the thumbnails would be images of men looking stupid, because y'all can look like some dumbasses too, right? And then half the images would be women looking crazy, and then it would be like men and women are crazy. Let me help these men. Let me help these women. No, what happened was Kevin was able to build a brand off of the consistent animosity that so many people have toward black women. Malcolm X said it best. Malcolm X said that nobody is hated more than the black woman. And so this theory that you think that all this commentary about where you got a million men saying, see, that's what's wrong with these women, that you somehow think that that's helping women. I think that you're wrong about that, because at the end of the day, if you can't critique yourself, then you ain't shit. If you can't critique yourself as much as you're critiquing somebody else, that means that you are narcissistic, you lack introspection, you lack maturity, and you're probably an arrogant bastard that nobody would want to be around anyway. So no wonder you think women are disrespectful, because your women don't respect you because you don't know how to respect them. You live in the land of disrespect. And this is important for black people to understand. I'm talking to the B1 people, the intelligent people, the people that love black men, the people that love black women, that love black families, that love the black community, that are pro-black, that want black people to win. Here's the deal. Here's what you got to understand. There are different types of dating in the black community. I figured this out. There are people that date in the land of mutual respect, where men and women are trying to figure each other out, where there's give and take, where men are saying, hey, look, I'll work on this if you'll work on that. I have my standards, you have yours. And then you have the land of just niggerish disrespect. You have niggerosity, like where it's like, fuck you, bitch, you ain't shit. Oh, need nigga, they ain't nothing. Need nigga, they ain't blah, 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 right? And you see it. Go listen to Kendrick Lamar, that song he has, where the whole chorus is fuck you, nigga, fuck you, bitch, fuck you, nigga, fuck you, bitch. Literally, that's the whole chorus of the song. And it's a reflection of the tremendous amount of trauma that so many black people put each other through. And it starts with your family. It starts with the fact that when you grew up, you didn't have a daddy in the house. So if you're a woman, you might not have respect for men. You might just think men are garbage, right? Because your daddy was garbage. And then also for the men who didn't have any guidance or anybody to teach them what a man is supposed to do, how a man behaves, they grow up and they start just basically becoming the bigger bitch. They're mad at women. They're mad at their mama for putting their daddy out of their house. They're mad at the world. They don't feel like they have any responsibility. So basically, they sit around, and their whole occupation that they don't get paid for is to sit around and complain about these women ain't shit, and these women are messed up, and these women do this, and these women do that. And nobody ever taught you that what a man is really supposed to do is not sit around and try to be the bigger bitch. Your job as a man, in my view, is to say, look, women who don't behave appropriately don't belong in my space. I will not date a woman who is overly loud or who is overly disrespectful. I ain't got to be disrespectful back. I'm not going to scream and holler with you. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to try to put you in your place and teach you a lesson and show you how to be a woman. It's not my job to teach you nothing. You know what my job is? My job is to walk away and find me a quality woman who knows what it means to be a lady, who knows what it means to be a decent human being. And this is something that I think is really important. I think strategic men understand this. Strategic men who tend to be more successful, who are more focused on their goals, who are disciplined. One thing I have found I have a lot of friends like this who are quality, high value men, whatever that means. Who literally will just observe you from a distance. And if they see you acting like a crazy ragamuffin, they're not going to even tell you what they're thinking. They're just going to quietly walk away. They're going to quietly go toward the woman that they can bring to the cocktail party. They're going to hang out with the woman who's going to represent the family well. They're going to hang out with the woman who is going to be a solid mother, and the loud, crazy woman is maybe that'll be the girlfriend, maybe that'll be the girl you sleep with, maybe, or maybe that's your friend, but you keep your distance, right? And that's because there is a type of strategy that must be applied when you're talking about your relationships. If you spend most of your time complaining about women or complaining about men, that means you're not spending enough time complaining about yourself, because you're putting yourself in those situations. You're choosing who you want to be around. If you think all black women are garbage, then you're picking garbage women. You or maybe you're chasing women that are. If you think all women are gold diggers and that they don't want to date a regular guy because they all want money, well, then you're probably chasing gold diggers who don't want to date you because you drive a garbage truck. I don't have that problem. I've attracted gold diggers for the last 20 years because I've been making six figures since I was 30. But I never wanted to date a gold digger because I'm not that stupid. I don't want to be around a woman who's going to take all my money. My wife had independent wealth before we got married. Right? So ultimately, what I would say to you is that a lot of times when you see guys who've chosen to become the bigger bitch by spending most of their time complaining about women and what women won't do and why women won't do this and won't do that, in many cases, I would argue it's because you're chasing the wrong women, or you're chasing women that that have criteria in terms of wealth and things like that that you cannot meet, and you're feeling upset and inadequate because you're saying, "Well, why won't you date me even though I work at Taco Bell?" There are plenty of women who will date a man that works at Taco Bell. Unfortunately, the women you're chasing, the Instagram model that you're trying to DM, is not in that category. So again, you have people that date in the land of respect, and then you have those that live in the world of disrespect. The people that live in the world of disrespect have a very different view of the opposite gender from people who live in the world where people are trying to figure it out, trying to connect, trying to build something healthy, trying to not traumatize each other, who are trying to live a good life. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My website's boycewatkins.com. I'm actually going to come in a little bit later and talk about stock related stuff in the stock market and all. There's lots to talk about there. If you want to get free information or free stock picks and stuff like that, feel free to go to boycewatkins.com and you can sign up. A few things that she said that were really interesting. She mentioned, I don't want to be your secretary. I thought that was very strange because I don't know. I don't think every man needs a woman to be his I have a secretary. My wife is not her. She mentions, I don't want to be like your health. I don't want to worry about your health. I don't know. I would say that one of the things about marriage anyway is because you are a unit, because you are a family, you're mutually concerned about each other's health. One of the benefits of being in a strong relationship is that when you go down, you've got somebody that's right there with you, somebody waiting for you to take you home from the hospital. Since I've been married, I've had to go to the hospital 2 or 3 times where I had to be put under, nothing major, but just maybe routine stuff, whatever. And my wife it felt good to say, oh, my wife is going to pick me up. Now, let me give you another example, real life example. There was a lady who was a very prominent feminist who is so famous that if I said her name, you would know instantly who I'm talking about. She's written books. Everybody loves her. Well, I knew somebody who was very close to her. And one of the things that she had, which she would never publicly admit, is she had a moment of reflection as she got older. She got sick in her 60s, and she wasn't young and energetic anymore. She was now in her 60s, and she wasn't married, and she got sick and went to the hospital. And she said it made her really sad that when she came out of the hospital, there was nobody she could call to pick her up from the hospital. And so ultimately, remember, health, wealth, and relationships, those are the 3 measuring sticks for your quality of life. Those are the 3 variables that determine whether you have a good life or a bad life. So part of a healthy relationship means talking about your health. You're not going to be young forever. You do get older, and you have to think about these things. She also said something about a fully functioning adult. I want to be with a fully functioning adult. So it seems to me that her definition of an adult is somebody who doesn't need anybody else, who can do it all by themselves, who does everything on their own. And I just think that's weird. I think it's a weird statement, because what if I said something like this? I know I make a lot of money, but I want to keep my money. I need to be with a woman who's a fully functioning adult. I need to be with a woman who can pay for herself. I need a woman who's going to pay her own mortgage. I don't want to be paying for her car note. I don't want to be paying for nothing. I don't want to be paying for us to go out to dinner. I need a woman who's an adult. Right? Does that mean, does the idea that a woman would expect me, again, as a man who's made money, I've made some money, the idea that she expects me to pay for things, does that make her not an adult anymore? No, it's silly. It would be absolutely silly to say that. So this idea that a fully functioning adult is a person who doesn't need your help nor expect your help is a ridiculous and childish statement. What really is occurring to me, in my view, is that I think she's just confused about the fact that when you choose to have a relationship, you have roles, you have gender roles, and the roles differ from one relationship to the next. That's why you have to communicate a lot, because now people are confused. Men don't know exactly what women expect. Women don't know what men expect because the world has confused us. Feminism confuses the shit out of me. But then this manosphere confuses a lot of women. They're like, well, what do you want from me? What am I supposed to do? Right. And so ultimately, and then also remember the dysfunction, the imbalance of the black family has fucked it all up. When you have men that grow up watching their mother do everything, pay attention now. That's why, ladies, you gotta listen. You got some men on the extreme end of things that become what my friend calls hobosexuals. Hobosexuals are the men who literally grew up watching their mother do everything. They grew up, they didn't have a daddy, so there was no man in the house forcing them to meet a standard. No man saying, get your ass out of bed. No man saying, clean up your room. No man saying, you need to, the ladies are coming through the door and you need to open the door for them. They had no man. So they grow up into men who think that their mothers are supposed to do everything. And so when they go into the adult world, they're not looking for a wife to take care of. They're looking for another mother. And what's crazy to me is that the women grew up in that household where they saw their brother sitting his lazy ass on the couch doing nothing while their mother was on them. Straighten up your dress, clean up your room, wash the dishes, do this, do this, do this. So they're workhorses. They're ready to do everything. They're taking control. They're in large and in charge. So they fall right into that role. So you actually have the scenario where the hobosexuals are marrying these super strong masculine black women who put their balls on the table, and so the black relationship has been flipped on its head. Where in some of these relationships, the woman really has taken on the traditional role of the male. She is the breadwinner. She is the protector. She is the workhorse of the house. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's almost, to me, it's almost like a gay relationship or something, or a lesbian or homosexual. It's just a different type. And it's like, okay, well, I guess if that works for you, then that's fine. But I don't think that's natural. I just really don't. I think that causes a lot of confusion. I think that creates a lot of weird issues. And so when you have men that truly think that a relationship requires just nothing from you, no responsibility from you whatsoever. I'm always kind of like, well, where did you get that from? Who taught you that? Who taught you that a man is just to just sit in the house and do nothing and add nothing to the table? Or the woman, like, who taught you that the woman's always supposed to be in charge of everything and always running the show and always, I get it. You learned it from your mother. You saw your mother as the dominant man of the house. That's what you saw. Right. And that creates a problem when you run into a real man, when you run into a masculine man who also likes to be the dominant figure in the house. You're going to bump heads. You're going to collide. And so when you run into that person and you say, gosh, I love this person, I want to make this work, but we keep bumping heads, that's probably where stuff like therapy comes in, or negotiation comes in, or communication comes in, because you got to figure out what the roles are going to be so that you're not constantly trying to beat each other down. I find that a lot of women are frustrated that I speak to, maybe because of the way dating has kind of changed. And also remember, this is another interesting thing about the black community that nobody talks about this. There is a statistical imbalance between the number of marriage eligible black men and the number of marriage eligible black women. This is why I will never forgive Joe Biden for the crime bill, because the crime bill incarcerated so many black men in the previous generation that millions of black men are either locked up in the criminal justice system, or their fathers were locked up. So they didn't have a father that taught them how to run a household. So you have a lot of women who have it all together in certain areas, not all areas though. Y'all ain't perfect. They have a lot, but they have it together. They got the master's degree. They're making $100,000 a year, and they're looking for the husband, and they're not really finding what they're really looking for. But then also there's a shortcoming there in the sense that if you never grew up in a space where somebody taught you how to talk to a man, how to please a man, how to make a man happy, and all you did was you listened to your girlfriends who told you that you're perfect and it's always the man's fault, I don't think any of those girlfriends are ever doing you any favors when they tell you how perfect you are and how it's always somebody else's fault. Anybody who tells you all throughout your life that it's always somebody else's fault, whether you're a woman who has girlfriends constantly validating her foolishness, or you're a man watching, the Kevin Samuels channel where they're telling you that black women are the reason their relationships are falling apart. People like that never do you any favors. None of that ever helps you. It never helps you to be in a space where you're not taught to take responsibility for your own shit. And so to go back to this lady's commentary, I would say this. I understand. I think it's completely her right to say, I don't want to do no work. I'm just, maybe she's probably got a little boyfriend that comes by once every week or two and gives her some sex. And maybe she's okay with that. She says she's got a plant, and some people are okay with that. Some people, and I think that's all right to say that. I really do. If you like being alone, there are introverts who enjoy being alone. But what I do think, though, is that sometimes you run into a situation where you really want that person. You really are willing to do the work to be next to that person, to earn the right to be. When I met my wife, I said, I'm willing to do the work to be her husband. Well, when I decided that I was willing to do the work to keep that job, the job of being her husband, that meant that I had to evolve. That meant that I had to negotiate. That means I had to communicate. That means I had to change some of my behavior. And would I have been willing to do that in every situation? The answer is absolutely fucking no. I wouldn't have done that just for anybody. I did it because I wanted to be her husband, and that was important to me. And so when something's important to you, you got to ask yourself, what price am I willing to pay for the doggy in the window? What price? You go into the mall, and sometimes you go to the mall and you don't want to buy nothing. You got $1,000 in your wallet, and you don't see anything that makes you want to let go of your money, and that's okay. You say, look, I'm not trying to give them no money for nothing. And they say, well, if you don't pay any money, you can't have anything. You say, that's okay, that's cool. I can walk out empty-handed because nothing in this store makes me want to pull money out of my pocket. But one day you walk in that store and you'll see an outfit and you'll say, damn, I really want that outfit, or I really want those shoes, or I really want that computer system, whatever it is. And then they're going to say, okay, well, if you want this computer system, it's going to cost you $1,484.18. And you're going to say, damn, that price is high. But you're going to say, it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. So I will pay more for this computer system than I was willing to pay for anything else in this mall, because that is what I want. That is what I need. That is what I'm willing to sacrifice in order to obtain. So the same thing is true for a relationship. If you, all situations are not created equal. If I want a situation, if I want a woman, then I decide what I'm willing to sacrifice in order to be next to that woman. Also, if somebody does not want you, that means that whatever price they're willing to pay is not the price that is required to be next to you. So if Apple says, hey, we got a new laptop, boys. It costs $1,400, and I say, ooh, I don't want to pay that much. I'll pay $400 for it. They can sit around and bitch and complain and cuss me out and what's wrong with you, and you gonna die alone with no laptop because you don't want to pay the price to have a good computer. What's wrong with you? You're gonna be sitting around struggling because, see, that's what's wrong with you, because you don't want to pay the price to have a laptop. They could do all of that, or they could do what they actually do. They just say, okay, no problem. We're gonna put this back on the shelf. Your broke ass can't have it. We're gonna wait for somebody to come through that door who sees the value in what we have to offer. And we're going to let that person have the laptop because they're going to give us what we feel it's worth. We're not going to change the price. We're not going to beg you for nothing. We're going to wish you well, but we're going to make sure that our property gets its proper value. And I think that that's true in relationships. So when you see men complaining that women's standards are too high, that's a little weird to me, because that means either you're not meeting her standard or you just need to find a woman with a different standard. Or you hear women that'll complain about men, like, why won't he marry me? He won't marry me. He won't do this. Well, because he's willing to give you this much. He's willing to give you a salary of $40,000 a year, and you want $100,000. You're not going to get that out of that company. That company is not going to pay you more than $40,000. Maybe because they don't think you're worth it, or because they just don't have the money. Some people don't have what you're looking for. Some men, again, if you could put the greatest woman on earth in front of me when I was 25, and everybody would have said, well, why don't you marry her? She's so perfect. She's so wonderful. I wouldn't have married her because I wasn't willing to pay that price. That wasn't for me. Now, maybe at 44 or 34 even, yeah, I would have done it. But 24, no, 24, I'm trying to get through graduate school. So really, I think that in general, again, I'm speaking as an economist here. And as an economist, we are experts at analyzing markets. And in markets, you have something called supply and demand. And typically, when supply and demand are out of balance, then you have to make adjustments in that market in order to get what you want. So ultimately, what I would say is that when you're seeing a bunch of women complaining about what men will and won't do, that's a supply demand imbalance. You're looking for love in all the wrong places. Maybe you're mad because you think you deserve this kind of man, but really your attitude is only giving you a type of man that's at a lower tier. The same thing is true when I hear a bunch of men complaining that women's standards are too high and this, that, and the other. That tells me that you are out of balance with the market. You're like that person who has a GED who wants to make $150,000 a year. Well, there's a lot more competition for people that have a lot more education than you who are going to be competing for that $150,000 a year job. So you could get mad that the company won't pay you $150,000, or you can either get your game up, or you can go look for a different job, or you can go start your own business. But you got to make an adjustment. Markets require an adjustment, and the adjustment is not solved by sitting around bitching and complaining or trying to be the bigger bitch. And that's what I say, when all you do is complain about the opposite sex and what they will and won't do, what they will and won't give you, to me, you're just trying to be the bigger bitch. You think that complaining about what you can't have and what the world won't give you is going to get you somewhere. And I'm going to tell you, when I was a little boy, my mother told me from the jump, and I thank God she said this. She said, the world don't owe you shit. The world don't owe you nothing. So when you sitting there crying in your beer complaining because that Instagram hoe don't want to give you her phone number because she don't think you make enough money, don't nobody care about that. Or you complaining because men don't want to be around you, maybe because you're such an independent woman and you want to constantly run your mouth and get off with people's faces and be disrespectful. Well, then ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you. Get a cat, go get a plant. There's other, get a vibrator. Like, there's other ways for you to, or whatever. Like, but all that complaining ain't gonna get you nowhere. But again, I think I'm in the minority. I think that people, I believe we live in a world where people are taught to complain and feel sorry for themselves. I really do. I believe we live in a world where, especially Black people, we're taught to believe that you can't control your environment and all you can do is get mad about it, and that getting mad is a strategy. Getting mad is not a strategy. When I was younger and I was broke and I couldn't get the attention of the women that I wanted, you know what I did? I said either A, I'm going to pick different women that don't care as much about money, and then one day I'm going to go out and get enough money so that I can have the woman I want. And that's what I did. I started making lots of money, and the women were everywhere, right? And so ultimately, I think adjusting. I think that if you need to lose weight in order to be more attractive, there's nothing wrong with somebody's, I'm not saying that anybody has a right to tell you that. I don't think that's right. I think that's mean. You can hurt somebody's feelings or whatever. But for somebody, but if you look at a Lizzo and she's like, I want to be 400 pounds, and I want to be mad and offended that men are not attracted to a 400-pound woman. Well, that's stupid. That's ignorant. No. If you need to do something that's going to make you a better catch for other people, which might start with simply being a nicer person or trying to look better or carrying yourself in a different way, that's no different from saying that if you want the job that you want, you got to show up right for the interview. You got to show up with the right credentials. You got to show up willing to do the work. You got to show up with a good attitude. If you're showing up with a bad attitude and you ain't got no credentials and you're lazy as hell, then don't be surprised when nobody wants to hire you or they hire somebody better. And you see it all the time. You'll see a woman get mad because a man picked a better woman because she was nice to him and you weren't. Or a man gets mad because a woman picks a better man because he'll open the door for you. He doesn't think opening the door for a woman makes him a simp. He doesn't fall for that bullshit simp talk that people have on the internet. Like, oh, you nice to a woman, you a simp. Well, that you sound like a simp just constantly complaining about people asking you to do stuff, right? So then next thing you know, a man who's nicer to your woman, who can show appreciation for her, has gotten her attention and you can't get her attention. Or a man who went out and hustled and made some bread and got his game up, He's got the woman that you want, so you're mad about that, right? So you just sit around, these women, they standards is too high. Their standards are too high. No, their standards are just fine. She just has better options than you, and you're mad about it because you haven't made the decision to do what is necessary to make yourself into a quality catch. So either shop in the discount aisle for your next girlfriend, or step your game up. Those are your only two choices. But trying to be the bigger bitch and complaining about it is never going to get you anywhere. All right, so let me go through a couple more things with this video. The other interesting things about this video, she said a couple times, "I'm not working for you," and she said, "I've gotten so lazy." I thought that was really interesting that she talked about being lazy and I don't work for you. Those statements to me reveal a perspective. Like, I think that she sees being someone's wife is almost like being an employee. And one of the things I'll tell you guys, for those of you that aren't married, when you are married, it is a little bit like being an employee and being a boss at the same time. You really are. And you have responsibilities. You have things you have to do. And it's hard to get away from that. Like, I'm the head of a family and I have a wife, and my wife expects things, and it's tough, right? It's easier to do what you want to do. But at the same time, the trade-off is that if you pick the right person that believes in reciprocity, then when it's time for you to ask them for something, they do something for you. That's what communal living looks like. That's what cooperative economics looks like. That's what working together looks like. That's what being part of a team looks like, right? You can't have everything the way you want all the time. There are trade-offs that have to be made. And so the fact that she admits that she's lazy, I think that's fine too. I like her honesty a lot. But I would say, personally, I wouldn't marry a lazy woman. My wife's not lazy. My wife is a very hardworking person, and so am I. And I think that relationships tend to work best when both people say, "No, I'm not here to be lazy, but I'm not here to work hard for everybody. I'm here to work hard in situations where I benefit." One of the reasons that Black economics does not grow at the level that it should is because so many people had never learned the concept of reciprocity. Reciprocity is how an economy works, whether you're talking about an economy of money or an economy of love. Reciprocity means I scratch your back, you scratch mine. The Jewish community understands this. Reciprocity means I hook you up, you hook me up. Reciprocity means I'm not here to try to hoard all the money and keep it all for myself. I'm going to go buy from you so that you'll come buy from me. Right? That's how economies work. And the thing about it, and this is why Black people lose about 1.6 trillion a year. That's why it flies out the window, is because reciprocity is also built on things that we struggle with at times because of our trauma. Things like trust. Trust is everything. When you talk about building a healthy business relationship or an emotional relationship, if you don't have trust, you can't build anything with anybody. If I am partnering with you on a business and I don't trust you, how much business you really think we're going to do? If I'm constantly watching my back, worried that you're going to jack me for everything I got, we can't do business that way. If I don't trust you, am I going to buy from you? Am I going to support your Black business? If I don't trust your business, I think you're going to poison my food, or you're going to steal my money and run away. No, I'm not going to do that. Seriously. Or am I going to loan you money if I don't trust you? If I think you like my cousin, like a lot of y'all got cousins and stuff that'll borrow your money and never pay it back. Right. And so that lack of trust, well, no, I'm not going to loan you anything. So I could be sitting with a lot of money in my bank account and you might need $5,000 to get your business off the ground. But if I don't trust you, you're not touching any of my money. I'm not loaning you anything. I'm not investing in anything. So investment, consumption, support, partnerships, all these things require trust. So when you have the trust, this is why Black people learning how to overcome our trauma is so important, and learning how to work together and love each other is so important. This is why Black family is so important. This is why Black family and Black people working together is such a threat to white supremacy. When you can develop and build that trust, you can do amazing things. I saw an all-Black group the other day. They climbed Mount Everest. Mountain climbing as a group requires a tremendous amount of trust because you're putting somebody's life in your hands. So because they trusted each other and they built a relationship with each other, a healthy relationship, they were able to go out and do something that no group of Black people had ever done before. So when you have the trust, you can do great things. You can climb Mount Everest. You can build major corporations. You can build strong families. You can build healthy networks. You can build amazing institutions. But when you don't have the trust, what you get is a lot of what you saw in that lady's video. What you get is a lot of, I'm going to do it all by myself, or I can do bad all by myself. Or you get a lot of men who say, forget these women. I don't need these women. I ain't trying to invest in these women, right? And you get a lot of that. And then what you get at the end. Pay attention now. Most of the people who talk like that, who want to do it all by themselves, who boot every man out of their life or boot every woman away or disrespect every woman they see, those people tend to struggle. They tend to struggle. They're not doing well economically. The lowest net worth in America is that of the single black mother with children. She has the lowest net worth in America. I'm not blaming them. I'm not being critical. But I would say that a lot of this also partly comes from maybe perhaps not addressing the trauma we experience as children and not learning how to keep a healthy relationship with a man, or at the very least, not even knowing how to pick the right types of men to have healthy relationships with. So if your father was a piece of shit and you spent your whole life chasing the bad boy, then you're going to end up having babies with a man who isn't going to do his job. And then it's only going to add to your trauma because you're not going to trust men, because you're going to think all men are as ridiculous as your father, because nobody ever taught you to take the time to sort of take a step back and not allow your experiences to cause you to make a bunch of bad choices. And then also the second lowest net worth in America is that of the baby making machines. These dudes who are making babies left and right, who got all these babies' mamas splattered out everywhere. Have you ever been in child support court? How many of y'all have ever really gone through that fucking process? It is terrible. I did it. I'm an 18-year veteran of the child support system. I paid my 18 years of child support. It was like getting out of jail. The last payment I made, I was like somebody up in church. Thank you, Jesus, that this is over. This was a nightmare. It was the most terrible experience in the world. They disrespect the hell out of you. It's taxation without representation. By that time, I was making over $100,000 a year. They were taking like $1,200 or $1,300 a month out of my check. And it was such a big amount. I said, I cannot physically write this check. I will be pissed off because I don't even get to control what happens to this money. It's one thing. Don't get me wrong. I was happy to invest in my daughter. I'm spending money on your child. That's very natural for me. That's something you're supposed to do. But I did not like writing a check that big and having no control over where the money went. It was very frustrating. It felt like slavery. I was really mad about it. And as a result of that experience, I remember saying, I'm never doing this again. I am never, ever, 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 ever going to have another child without being married to the mother and making sure that every ounce of my legal rights are fully protected. I'm not doing this no more. Right. So ultimately, when you talk about this idea that, these slave traditions that we pick up with the black male sort of being the buck who's running around, sleeping with every woman that within a 100-mile radius and making babies left and right and all this other stuff. That has huge financial and emotional consequences. Number one, your kids are already going to be starved emotionally because you got 14 kids. You can't give them all the proper amount of time. I don't care what people say. You can't live in a separate household from your 14 children and really act like you're given the same amount of time that a father is giving them when they're in the house every day, all the time. It's just not possible. It just doesn't work. But then number two, financially, when you got all those people going into your paycheck and all these babies mamas taking their little cut, you're going through life like a disabled person. Like anybody who decides they want to try to marry you or have a relationship with you isn't going to get all of you. They're going to get what Tiny T.I.'s wife used to call a piece of man. They're going to get a piece of you. They're going to be the eighth baby mama in line to get whatever's left of your raggedy check after everybody takes every penny out of it. So I would say that the two biggest deficits financially that murder black wealth are student loans and child support. So if you're smart and you want to build wealth, be really careful about who you have kids with, and also be really careful about how much money you spend on things like college. And make sure you tell that to your kids, because these are the two areas that I've noticed that keep black wealth from growing. It keeps a lot of black people poor, and a lot of black people, even some of y'all with all these advanced degrees and MBAs and PhDs and MDs, a lot of y'all are going to die in debt. And so to me, if you feel like you've made all this progress because you got all this education because a white man gave you a piece of paper, I would encourage you to sort of rethink that. Like, what does it really mean to make racial progress? If you die with a negative net worth, but all these credentials and pieces of paper and this validation that tells you that you're successful, what have you really done for the next generation? Like, what have you really left behind? I don't know. I'm not judging it. But I really think that we should reevaluate how we even look at what it means to be a successful black person, because a lot of your measures of success were handed to you by white people. They taught you what it means to be successful, and they taught you silly things like integration. is a measure of success. That's why it's important to read books like Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson, because Dr. Anderson explains integration did not help Black people. Integration harmed Black people. Integration diluted Black people. Integration took wealth out of the pockets of Black people. Integration crippled Black people. So you literally are, you're like a person who is eating poison every day, thinking that you're taking vitamins, and then you're wondering why you get sick and why you're dying. If you don't take the time to analyze what you're putting into your body, then you're going to continue to die. So what are you putting into your economic, your spiritual, and your emotional body? What are you doing on a regular basis? And why is it not working out for you? And a lot of times what it requires is something a lot of people don't have anymore. I noticed is to really understand that it requires a lot of intelligence, critical thinking, and humility. If you are not a person who can take the time to thoughtfully analyze every single part of your life, start with health, wealth, and relationships, and then critically analyze all the things that you assume to be true, and be humble enough to get advice from people who have a perspective that's different from yours, then I don't think you'll ever grow. And a lot of people don't have humility. I check out the internet a little bit. I don't really watch a lot of videos. Like, even when people do videos about me, like, if you're an asshole out here that's saying terrible things about me, just take comfort in the fact that I usually don't see anything that anybody says, because I think the internet's about 80% stupid. There's a lot of weirdos and narcissists that, online and stuff like that. But one of the things I'll say is that it's kind of done something where it's kind of reduced our collective IQ. It's just made people buy into ideas that are just absolutely fucking stupid and not beneficial for you, and not going to get you the happiness that you deserve. Happiness is something that has to be custom made. It has to be something that you create for yourself by looking at your situation, looking at what you want, looking at the adjustments that you have to make. And some of these adjustments are not politically correct. Like, so for example, again, sometimes maybe the reason you're not attracting the women or the man that you want is because you need to lose weight. Maybe you really need to like exercise. Like, you're showing up fat and sloppy. You're dressing like a bum. You're not doing anything nice for anybody other than yourself, and you're wondering why nobody wants to be around you. Well, it's hard to accept that, but that runs counter to this bullshit narrative that we put out here, that you can just be whoever you want to be and do whatever you want to do, and people should just accept you just for exactly who you are all the time. I don't think that's true. Again, this is Uncle Boyce talking. I hope it's okay if I share this perspective. I'm just kind of doing a stream of consciousness on this, but I have never believed that you can just run out here and just do whatever the hell you want and treat people however you want, and then get what you want from other people. I believe that being considerate of others and understanding how to obtain what you want, again, it's no different from trying to get a certain job. You can't show up raggedy to the interview with no credentials, tell them you ain't willing to do no work, and then expect that you're going to get the job next to somebody who really showed up wanting that job. So if I want a woman, I've got to show up letting her know I'm willing to do the work. I've got the credentials. I am fully prepared to be the best man that you have ever seen in your life, and I'm gonna give you 100% of me every day. If I want that woman, that's how I'm gonna show up, right? Because I know that if I want a quality woman, I'm gonna have to compete for that. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's weird when people say that you shouldn't compete for what you want. No, you got to compete. Same thing is true with women too. You get you a man, this high quality man that's making a couple $100,000 a year, and he's taking care of himself, and he's a good guy. You don't think other women every day aren't trying to seduce that man into their arms? And when you get to the point where you get so comfortable and complacent that you think that you can treat your partner any old kind of way, like they ain't gonna go nowhere because he's married to me, or that's my girl. She can't be with nobody else. Anytime I see her with another man, I'm just start barking and threatening people and that blah 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 blah. That stuff's whack, man. Like, you're still gonna get cheated on at some point. You're gonna get cheated on, you're gonna get abandoned, and then you're gonna be pissed off. You're gonna be sitting on somebody's YouTube channel bitching about how men ain't shit or how women are garbage and when these hoes ain't loyal. Well, I mean, men who say these hoes ain't loyal are either men who hang out with disloyal women, or they don't do anything that earns the loyalty of a woman. If you don't earn loyalty, then you're probably not going to receive it. But then also at the same time, you have to choose people to be around who are even capable of giving you loyalty. Right? A gold digger is not loyal. That's why even though I attracted many gold diggers when I started making money, I would never want to date a gold digger, because I knew that the only thing you're loyal to is my money. And that's not enough for me. I need more than that. right? So ultimately, I really think that honesty is important. I think an honest perspective on all this stuff, on all the things that matter in our lives, is really important. I think that if you're serious about being successful, you cannot talk about things like wealth without talking about health and relationships. If you're not talking about health, wealth, and relationships together, then you're going to fail. Because what's going to happen is you're going to ignore your health so you can go get wealth, and then you're going to lose your health, and you're going to lose all your wealth trying to get your health back. Or you're going to ignore your relationships and end up sleeping with raggedy men while you're out here conquering the world. I knew a lady like that. She was conquering the world, making all kinds of money, and she didn't choose her husband wisely. Well, her husband eventually he was an abusive man. He ended up murdering her, and he killed himself, and their two kids are growing up now without a father or mother. So if you're not able to sort of connect all of those things, then you're not going to be successful in general. So I would encourage you, if you want to be on top of your stuff. I'm talking to the talented 10th. I'm really talking to people that really want to have a good life, people that really want to succeed. I'm not the expert at all this. I'm not the guru. You know what I am? I'm a 51-year-old man who has accomplished most of my goals in life. I married the girl of my dreams. I didn't marry my second choice. I married the woman that I wanted. I made millions of dollars. So wealth-wise, I did fine. And you guys saw me lose a ton of weight and really improve my health tremendously. So in those three areas, I can say that I'm very content. I'm not pretending to be happy. I really am happy. So as a person who's in that position, and I say this very humbly, my advice to you is that if you want to be successful in your fucking life, stop listening to these dumbasses on the internet who train you to sit around and complain all day, or who tell you that the world is supposed to bend and fit into the image that you think it's supposed to be, or that men are supposed to be what you think men are supposed to be. No, men ain't gonna a real man ain't gonna be nothing but what he's gonna be. And it's up to you to decide to evaluate and to figure out and to use your power, your feminine power to shape him into what you need, or to shape the situation into the situation you need it to be. Or people that are telling you that all these women, their standards are too high and what's wrong with these women and blah 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 blah. They're just training you on how to be the bigger bitch. You cannot get what you want out of life by being the bigger bitch. The way you get what you want out of life is you look at what's around you. You choose your situations carefully. You choose the people that you want to be around. You set your standards, and then you operate at the highest frequency that you possibly can. You educate yourself as much as you can. You exercise, stay healthy, get fit, look good, feel good. You invest right, invest in your life, not just financially, but invest in all the areas that matter to you. Invest in your relationships, invest in your knowledge, invest in your health, invest in your finances. If you are a person that has that mindset, like an investor mindset, and you're always showing up on top of your shit, and you're also discerning about what types of people you will allow into your space, then I believe that you have the ability to build the perfect life. I think that you can build the life that you want, but you have to do all the work necessary. For some of us, it might be working on your self-esteem. Sometimes women date horrible men because they don't feel like they're worthy of a good man. Or men will go after the women that they think that they can get as opposed to the woman that they actually want. Or people won't have standards about who they want to be around because they don't want to be cocky and arrogant. I don't want to be uppity. I don't want to be, they think I'm a snob because I said, no. There's nothing snobbish about protecting your life and protecting what you want. I'm very picky about my friends because I know lots of people. I've met lots of people all around the world. I don't let everybody around me. You can't even have a fucking conversation with me unless you've been fully vetted. And I'm 100% sure that you're a person that I need in my space and need in my life. And the minute I see something that does not gel with my spirit, you're going to go. I'm not going to speak to you ever again. There are people on the internet to this day who've been mad, who are confused. For years, they've been doing videos. Dr. Boyce is a bastard. He's the son of a bitch. He quit talking to me. Yeah, because I saw something in your spirit that told me that you're not a person I need in my space. Because life is short. I want to be happy in this life. I want to be successful in this life, and I want to win. And you're a loser. I don't want to be around losers. I'm not even going to take the time to explain to you. I'm not even going to explain to you why you don't need to be here. I'm just going to ghost myself out the door and get around people that are going to help me succeed, help me find happiness, and help me enjoy what's left of this life that God gave me. So pick the right people in your life. You must start with loving yourself enough to demand the best for yourself. That's the first step. But then at the same time, you've got to give the best to other people around you. Stop showing up raggedy and then wondering why people are treating you like you raggedy. Stop being, you ain't got to be a bitch to prove that you're an independent woman. No, be a nice, be a lady. Learn from Claire Huxtable. Claire Huxtable could be as firm and as stern as she wanted to be. Claire's my standard. I thought her character was great. She could be as firm as she needed to be, but she was always a lady. There's beauty in that. That's awesome. That's gorgeous. When you a neck swinging, hollering, hooting, and all this other stuff, that's not interesting to intelligent men. Intelligent men don't like that stuff. And I think the same thing is true with men. You gotta find a standard of manhood that isn't built around sort of narcissistic, blustery, like I'm a man because I smoke cigars and I don't love these hoes and these women, blah, 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 blah. Like all that nonsense. That tells me right there you wasn't raised by no real man. You was raised by a damn rapper. You watch these rappers. Half these rappers are losers. Look at them. They getting killed every other day. They getting RICO charges for the next 100 years. They going broke like crazy. They become a bunch of damn drug addicts. They go broke because they give all their money away to white people. And you're imitating all of that. You're imitating every single thing that makes a black man into a loser. Why in the world, as a black man, would you imitate any of this shit that white people put on TV in front of you? They put the most raggedy, ignorant, messed up, doped out, stupid, ridiculous clowns on TV, and somebody told you that was manhood because they put it on an album next to a nice beat. That's not manhood, man. That's not manhood. You got to learn manhood from real men. The real men in my community that I respect are the men that are holding it down. Maybe they have a family that they will protect with their life. They are working hard every day. They're getting up and they're honest and decent and good human beings. They are standing firm and strong in situations where they're called for. They're taking good care of their kids. They look out for their kids no matter what. They're not putting themselves in stupid situations. They're avoiding excessive consumption of things like drugs and alcohol. They are managing their money and making a plan for the future. A man must always have a plan. A man without a plan is going to be a loser. A man without a plan is going to end up in a ditch. A man without a plan is never going to lead his family anywhere good. So ladies, when you pick a man, ask him what his plan is. And if he ain't got no plan, you run. You go find your man that's really got a plan. If you don't have a plan, then the universe will give you a plan. The universe's plan for you will be failure. The universe's plan for you will be pain. The universe's plan for you will be chaos. The universe's plan for you will be for you to lose. So you must have a plan, and that allows you to tap into the intentionality that God gave you, the ability of a man the godlike ability of a man to manifest the reality that he wants. That's what makes a man strong. That's what makes a man capable. All this blustering bullshit on the internet with guys sitting in their mama's basement making YouTube videos talking about I'm part of the manosphere. Well, prove it. They can't prove nothing about manhood. They just know how to sound like a man because they learned how to imitate what a real man looks and sounds like. That's all they know how to do. So anyway, that's it. I'm done talking. I've said a lot today, and I'd like to actually hear what my wife has to say about that lady's video. So at some point we'll do a pillow talk about it. And so anyway, just a reminder, if you could, please take 1 second, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, don't forget that today, actually, if you want to go and get your tickets for the All Black National Convention, which takes place October 28th through the 30th, for today only, you can get 30% off. Just go to allblack-showconvention.com and use the discount code DISCOUNT24. And for the next 100 people, you can get 30% off your tickets. So it's kind of a flash sale that we're doing on passes. The convention's awesome. It's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th through the 30th. We're going to have speed dating. We're going to have panels on crypto and investing. We're going to have panels and speakers on politics and relationships. We're going to have the B1 ball, which is really awesome. And we have a kids track, a whole kids curriculum where your kids are going to learn all kinds of stuff because we're serious about building for the future. That's what we believe in. That's what we want to do. I believe Black people are supposed to win, but everybody ain't going to win. But I'm looking for the winners. And so if you want to be in that category, if that's how you define yourself, then the convention is all for you. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com, use the discount code DISCOUNT24, and you can get 30% off your tickets for today only. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. God bless you. Thank you for listening. It was real. And if you disagree with something I said, that's totally okay. It's all right to disagree. And later on, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about stocks and investing and all that stuff because that's just as important as relationship stuff. But remember, the reason I talk about other things outside of wealth is because it's all tied together. It's all connected. If you don't manage your relationships and your health properly, then you can't build wealth. They're all connected. Never, ever forget that. All right, guys, have a good day. Love you. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.